Wayne Hennessey is a goalkeeper for Crystal Palace, a team in the Premier League.
This is a soccer story, by the way.
Yes, it is. Who got in trouble in January for appearing to do the Hitler salute as part of a teammate's Instagram photo. But he got off, according to this panel. It's called an FA panel. 3 judges got to decide whether he was guilty, whether he should face any punishment, from the league or not, because they bought his argument that he was too stupid to know what a Nazi salute actually is.
And this was like a team photograph. They were like at a restaurant, and I saw the picture. And most of his teammates are people of color. I don't know what country they're from, but I would believe that he wasn't really giving a Nazi salute. But I love that it's like you're too dumb to give the Nazi salute, as if like you got to be smart, like you got to have a PhD if you're gonna be a Nazi in the year 2019.
Well, it said as improbable as it may seem to the older generation, he seemed to not even be aware of it. When cross-examined, he displayed a considerable degree of ignorance about anything to do with Hitler, fascism, and the Nazi regime. Well, he's on the panel knowing that being stupid was his defense. How would that be like an acceptable defense? Anyone can just pretend that they're stupid.
But how dumb do you have to be to like? I've never heard of World War II. Like the Holocaust. Like I don't know. Like, and soccer is one of the most racist like sports that there is in terms of their fans. I got to think even maybe more than the NFL. But yeah, the idea that you would be too dumb, like every single person who gives the Nazi salute in this day and age has got to be a moron. They lost the war. They're the Confederacy of the international population that being too dumb to do it. Like if he was like, I'm too smart. Guys, look at what I've done. Look at my grades all the way through my doctorate. I'm too smart to have done this. I would believe that.
He said he was calling over a waitress. I mean, who calls over a waitress like that?
Well, if the waitress was a Nazi, then that makes perfect sense. If it was one of those Nazi-themed restaurants, you know what I mean? Like Nazis. Have you ever been there? They got good wings.
Yeah. It's with an exclamation point,
Chuck
right?
E. Cheese is a big Nazi supporter.
Little Caesars. Nazi.
It's insane. I mean, the worst of all, of course, is the Cheesecake Factory. I don't want to tell you what goes on in that factory, but the Nazis love it.
Being dumb, though, is an explanation. Like, if that's a usable explanation to get out of crimes or really any story, like anyone can use it. Because it really is the answer for a lot of things. Like, why did a murderer do something? Because he's dumb. Like, why did World War I start? Because people were dumb. Like, being dumb doesn't mean you get out of doing the crime.
Is that why World War I started?
Pretty much just a bunch of dumb reasons.
I'm gonna.
It's like why did a certain player's career not work out? Maybe he just wasn't smart enough. Like this is an answer to a lot that happens.
Here,
why did I hit that kid on the side of the highway? Because I'm dumb.
I'm gonna run you through some wars, and you tell me why they started.
Okay.
All right. Revolutionary War.
Dumb.
Vietnam War.
We're dumb.
Korean War.
Korea's dumb.
War of 1812.
Just the year was dumb.
The French and Indian War.
Dumb.
World War I.
Everyone
I already
dumb.
said that. World War II.
Nazis were dumb.
The War of the Roses.
Dumb.
War and Peace, the novel.
Great book.
But why did it start?
Dumb reasons.
Tolstoy was dumb. Name another war.
The war on drugs.
The war on drugs.
George Bush was dumb.
Actually, you're thinking of Reagan. You're thinking of Nancy Reagan. Rest in peace.
Gulf War.
Nancy. Gulf War.
Dumb.
What about
Civil
War?
No, that was pretty good. That was a good reason.
Was it? You thought the Confederacy was right?
I mean, they didn't really start it.
Moving on. But that was good. I didn't know Gregg knew as much history as he did. But he was a political science major in college. A lot of people didn't know that about Gregg. Gregg, what's our next headline?
It's like, I don't remember anything.
Wait, were you really?
I really was, yeah.
Huh.
That wasn't obvious from my whip smart answers to the war quiz here. I've never seen Anthony look so disappointed. Our next story is in the field of gymnastics.
I just figured we were 75% funny, that we would have just nailed the bit in the first try, but no.
The Michigan or former Michigan gymnastics coach was fired a year ago or late last year after getting caught in his car with an 18-year-old student who was also on the gymnastics team. The audio of that arrest came out this week.
He was having sex with her in the car.
He was having sex with the 18-year-old.
In the parking lot of the gym.
Yes.
They don't have a locker room. They don't have like a room.
It was in a public parking lot. It didn't say where it was, but it was it was the University of Michigan, and the Ann Arbor Police Department found them having sex in the middle of the day.
And she's 18. She is legal, but he's like twice her age and her coach.
He was 39 years old. He had a wife and 3 kids, and the audio
and
of
why
it.
in the world would a 39-year-old man, a guy around Gregg's age with 2 kids the way Gregg does, why would they want to have sex with an 18-year-old gymnast? I mean, get it together. Jesus.
The story is, happened a little while ago, but the audio came out this week.
She must have been a great gymnast. She must have done all the flips to have won his heart.
Let's listen to when he first approached the car. It's him knocking on the door.
Thanks, narrator.
This is awkward. Close, please.
That's the police officer letting them know that this is awkward, as if they did not know that it was going to be awkward.
And then I want to hear how he says goodbye to them. So he talks to them. He gives them a little bit of a speech.
Well, you can hear them putting on their clothes. Play that real fast. You can hear them like scrambling to put on their clothes.
That's them putting on their clothes. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because if you're a gymnast, you can get into that stuff real quick. But the guy's a little older. He kind of just tried to get one pant leg on and just fell over. And then what's the end of it you like?
Well, I just like this was he tries to give them a little speech, but he can see in the guy's face they're just embarrassed. And right, it's a ticket. It's kind of like a citation,
Indecent exposure.
and they're obviously embarrassed, and he's saying, there's not much I can really say to you, and then he finishes it up this way.
Wise decisions, yes, sir, from here on out. Yeah, okay. There's a phone number. You know what? Forgive me if I don't shake hands. No problem.
Now, is that the cop talking to the gymnast?
That's to the.
He didn't want to shake the gymnast's hand, because I would be like, if I met if Gregg, if you were like, Anthony, I cheated on my wife with an 18-year-old gymnast, first thing I'd do is shake your hand. Then bring you in for a hug. I'd be like, way to go, Gregg.
I mean, you would seem a little lighthearted and too happy about like the dissolution of my marriage.
I don't think so. I think, listen, if you knowing your wife as well as I do, she would welcome, someone. She would consider I think she considers making love to you like a chore. That if you took a lover, she would be fine with it. If you were like, listen, I'm gonna have an affair with you, but I'm gonna bring the kids with me. I'm going to get 2 hotel rooms. They're going to be in one. You have the night off. I'm going to have an affair. You don't think she'd be cool with that?
I don't think she would be cool with that. Or with your attitude here, which is kind of like the cops. Which that was the thing that really struck me with this is how lighthearted he's being, and he's trying to kind of diffuse the situation, just like, oh, well, isn't this, embarrassing? Meanwhile, He seems to be completely oblivious that this is the moment that both of these people's lives start to fall apart. That basically it's the end of this guy's career. He doesn't know he's a coach and a gymnast. I guess he just thinks it's some older guy with a younger guy, but he's being nice. He's like
a younger girl,
a younger girl. Yeah. Sorry. He's kind of being making jokes about it. Meanwhile, the guy is sitting there thinking, my career is over. My marriage is over. And this guy is acting like he's like Sergeant Winslow on Family Matters, making little jokes or whatever.
Carl Winslow?
Carl Winslow.
I think his actual name was Carl Winslow. I don't think his name was Sergeant Winslow.
He was a sergeant.
Maybe he was Winslow in Die Hard. Maybe he was that Winslow and not just Urkel's neighbor. I think if you get caught with an 18-year-old gymnast, you can only be so embarrassed. Do you know what I mean? You're like, you might be my career's over, but what a way to go out. And if you're a part of USA Gymnastics in any way, they have a pretty high tolerance for this sort of thing. So maybe he like gets a promotion. I don't know.
It's also a strange thing that, like, if it's an 18-year-old, the guy's cracking jokes, but if it's a 17-year-old, he's going to jail.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like a fairly arbitrary line.
It's the age of consent.
Gray
it's
area.
Not like
I know what I'm saying, but like, that's a pretty.
in some states, it's not even 18. Like, it could be 16. Where were they? Michigan?
Yeah.
I get the legality
18.
of it, but if you're thinking about like the morals or whatever, you know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying, but I think gymnast overrules all of that. Like, even if she was ugly, you'd still be like, gymnast. I'd go for it. Like, if you were like, hey, Anthony, I bought a new horse. It's a gymnast. Maybe I have sex with that horse.